Today I have two guest speakers here with me. One of them is Veikko Ruuskanen. He's the CEO of Toast Post-Production. And we also have Barry Evans, the CTO of Pixitmedia. So to get started, we will take a look at an introductory video from Toast Post-Production.
In post-production, collaboration is key. That's why shared access to files is crucial. When telling a story, uninterrupted flow is essential, especially when working with a client. Moreover, under fast-paced deadlines, it's common to use multiple suites simultaneously. We always prefer to play back raw material on the workstations in real time, regardless of the resolution or file format. Unfortunately, that wasn't always doable. At times, we needed to create local caches, which slowed down the workflow, frustrating both the artists and the clients. Here at Toast, with over 20 years of dedication to post-production, we continue to tackle challenging projects day in, day out. From commercials to big screen deliveries, clients are often present and things move quickly. We constantly seek new solutions and tools. When trying out Fusion for the first time, I didn't know what it was capable of. We found that we could instantly manage real-time transfers of the most demanding file types. The change was immediate. Now we can focus entirely on creativity with no waiting and zero hassle.
Okay, hello. Greetings from Helsinki, Finland. My name is Veikko, and I was on the video just today, if you missed it. Toast is done post-production for over 20 years now, and we are this kind of boutique size, so there's 10, 15 people working there, but we started with commercials, and that's the demanding area. There are clients present, and when you press play, stuff needs to happen right away. And of course, we have been expanding from there, like we do feature films, documentaries, even something else also, like, well, all that stuff. And that is where there's a lot of variation in the workflow. So we might have like 6 edit suites working with a reality show, or we might have 2 grading suites finishing a feature film, or VFX guys running EXR sequential files and stuff like that. So that's really demanding for the storage. When we started, there was no like solution to cover all of the different kind of workflows. So we did have Avid Unity for the edits and some Autodesk disks for the infernos and the flames and stuff like that. And some NAS for project files, maybe different media server. And it was a hassle to back up and archive. And well, back then there wasn't so much solutions for that. But around 2010, Ethernet started to be more and more powerful and usable for that kind of cases. So we started utilizing Ethernet more. And we also find at the same time ZFS file system, which was really neat. It wasn't so fast back then, but it was good. And with those 2 components, we started building on and trimming on our infrastructure. So maybe buying a more powerful switch or changing to 10 gig Ethernet or 40 gig Ethernet or stuff like that. But there started to be one bottleneck. And it was the SMB server, because no matter what kind of file system we used, big boxes, big servers, it always boiled down to how to get the files fast to the workstations. And we were experiencing a lot of problems with that, and surely trying to squeeze everything from Samba out. But there were certain limitations, of course, on that. And it was really funny that we were trying to find worldwide that what would be the product for us. And then Tuxera, which is located basically just 1 kilometer out of our offices in Helsinki. And I came up with their product actually just last year. It was really funny that when I put the plugin on there and yeah, this is like totally dead. Yeah. Sorry. So when we switched, did you miss a lot? There is something on the slide also. But basically, when we switched the basic Samba solution to Tuxera solution, the bottleneck was like instantly removed. So we could have like all the back-end systems, all the servers, we didn't touch anything. But then we started to gain performance, and we don't need to use, this is not working either. Wow. Is it? Yeah. Well, hope you hear it good. Yeah, great. So even the most demanding, like sequential files, small files and big files, both like BPX sequences and EXR sequences and Adobe cache files, all those small files that like gather up. It's like super simple to use now because we can have everything in one place, everything in single namespace. We can archive and back up everything from the same place. And that's like super reliable and quite simple. So we don't need to like dial down on the works and the suites we do. But we just like use all the raw files and press play and stuff happens. And that's really important for us. And for now, I'm really happy. I'm looking forward to gain even more performance because the SMB server shouldn't be the bottleneck anymore. So I can upgrade, for example, for NVMe or SSD, and I don't need to care about the background of that because the technology can change all the time. We have new AI tools coming up. We have this kind of an AI work group coming up, and in 2 years or 3 years, the demands of the storage might be totally different. So you might be needing like very fast, very small storage, or then you might need like a lot of space. But I don't care because the solution works and I can just change bits and pieces in the background and it's as simple as that. On a nutshell, that's our case now. Thanks.
Thank you, Veikko. Thank you for that introduction and for explaining how Tuxera Fusion File Share makes a difference in your workflows. So Tuxera Fusion File Share is essentially a drop-in replacement for open source Samba that was developed inside Tuxera. And it was developed to solve specifically a certain set of challenges that are currently seen in the media entertainment industry, especially when we're working with the open source solution Samba. So we're going to be here often comparing ourselves to Samba in this case. So the first, let's say, challenge that we're solving is concurrent video editing of files from multiple workstations. So Tuxera Fusion File Share is actually achieving this by smart byte range locking. So essentially we can lock multiple parts of the file and enable each workstation to edit different parts of the file concurrently simultaneously with no degradation in performance and no issues with things being misaligned or things being overstepped. Another issue that we're also solving is random read-write performance. So in this case, we're talking about, for example, rendering workflows or small file workflows, or when there's many or thousands of small files that are making up a larger video or a larger edit. In this case, our performance is very superior compared to Samba, and you're not waiting on anything, or you're not experiencing any kind of lag, no degradation in performance, no issues with latency. We're also able to do simultaneous streams of several multi-gigabyte images to a single workstation or to multiple workstations. So in this case, for example, a single workstation can now edit simultaneously or view simultaneously 4, even 6, 4K 60 FPS videos without any, again, degradation in performance, without having to wait for the file to load. You can skip through those video files, and you don't need to wait for things to get loaded. So everything is really working smoothly, and you can take advantage of that expensive hardware that is deployed in your environment. Availability challenges are also being solved by Tuxera Fusion File Share. So if there's any outage in your SMB cluster of SMB servers, then you don't need to restart the workflow. That workflow that you were doing when the outage happened is going to be transparently failed over to another server, SMB server in the cluster, and things will be resumed from the point where they were left off. So you never need to worry about losing data and losing some of your workflows. Scalability problems. So in this case, we're talking about, for example, number of concurrent connections that a single SMB server can handle, or the number of SMB shares that a single server can export. So in this case, again, we're removing bottlenecks and ensuring that you don't have any limitations in that regard, and that your team can collaborate how they want to, and they can focus really on their workflow. Performance bottlenecks, another big challenge in the industry when it comes to accessing content. So in this case, the way Tuxera likes to think about this is that we're removing the bottleneck from the protocol layer, from the software layer, and we're moving the bottleneck over to your network and your storage. So Tuxera Fusion File Share SMB server is always operating at the maximum throughput that your hardware and environment can deliver. And lastly, we're also tackling CPU and memory usage limitations and bottlenecks. So Fusion File Share, it has a completely different architecture compared to Samba. Samba is spawning a process per connection, which is extremely inefficient use of CPU and memory resources. But on the Fusion side, we're a highly threaded application that is using a pool of threads to service all the incoming connections. So some of the key features that we are actually using in order to solve some of these issues that I have just mentioned are, for example, multi-channel. SMB multi-channel is simply enabling additional throughput from the server to the client. So you can really start to take advantage of your network, of your hardware environment. RDMA, SMB Direct. So again, this is all about pushing more data through the pipe that you have and taking advantage of that expensive InfiniBand or Rocky hardware that you have there inside your infrastructure. And you're also reducing the CPU usage both on the server and on the client. Continuous availability and transparent failover. Well, essentially, I already mentioned that. It ensures zero downtime for your workloads. Even when there's SMB server outages, you will experience a delay of maybe 1 second before the workflow is resumed via another SMB server inside the cluster. So we're actually even using Fusion File Share SMB server in live streaming and live broadcasting environments and use cases. And then advanced file locking. So this is the byte range locking that enables concurrent video editing from multiple workstations of the same file. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the performance. So here we have a performance chart that compares Samba versus Tuxera Fusion File Share on macOS. And here we're using the native SMB client that's built into the macOS by Apple. And we're using frame tests to compare the performance. So first, if we take a look at the metadata performance, here we're listing 20,000 files in a directory structure on your Mac, on your storage on the Mac, and we're using Finder. So in this case, we're able to list all those 20,000 files via Samba. It takes about 30 seconds, and Fusion File Share takes about 9. So it's over 3x improvement. Your Finder experience is going to be significantly more responsive, and the latency is significantly reduced. In terms of the data performance, again, using frame test here on the right side, using either single or multi-channel connection, we are between 50 to 30% better in write performance. It's a significant gain, but the real gains we see are on the read performance, and a lot of the media entertainment workloads that we experience are really read heavy. And here we're able to achieve performance gains of up to 250% compared to open source Samba. So again, this is just a simple software change going from Samba to Tuxera Fusion File Share. On Windows, using the native Windows SMB client that comes built into every single copy of Windows shipped by Microsoft, we are here using FIO. We see a very similar pattern, but again, the gains in performance are significantly more. So here we are really just fully saturating 100 gigabit networks with no challenges. Our team has also been tested on 200 and even 400 gigabit networks that we're able to saturate. And the performance gains are 200-300% compared to open source Samba. So at this point, I'd like to hand it over to Barry. We'll talk from the software-defined storage vendor perspective.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Heinrich. So I won't tell you, this is about Tuxera today, so I'm not going to give you the whole Pixitmedia pitch too much, but we are a software-defined storage and data management solutions provider, and we do a lot of very fast storage solutions. Now, that's great. It's good for us. Perfect. Good for our customers. But one of the problems that we're finding more and more as these things get faster and faster, the storage, I mean, is that we're getting, it's more and more challenging to actually get it delivered to the end clients. And particularly where NVMe comes into play at the very high ends of a workstation requirement. Say you're getting in your 4K 60 frames a second of 16 bits type of a situation. Doing that to a Windows or even a Mac OS client, it's challenging without going back to more of a historical fiber channel based connection. The industry's trying to move away from this. They're trying to move on from this, and being able to get that performance and deliver those frames as fast as they need to keep up to Mac, to Windows over an Ethernet connection, it's challenging. It's not impossible. We've been doing it for years. However, the complexity there is significant. Even for us, I'll happily admit that is a complex installation for most of our customers. These are Mac and Windows workstations. The users sit down and use. They need to be simple, right? You need to come along. You need to click a button and have that performance delivered to you immediately. And this is what Tuxera Fusion is bringing to the party. And so we're very, very excited to be a partner of this and have this embedded into our own solutions so that we're delivering that performance to Windows, to Mac OS clients, that we're not having to worry about, do we need to get a NVMe initiator on this node, or do we need to stick a native client software over to here? Now, those use cases they'll still continue to be there for certain instances. But being able to just go into Finder, into Explorer, click a few buttons, have that thing mounted, have your share mounted, and delivering that top line performance through the hardware that you paid so much money for to have it delivered. I mean, it's just key, right? And it's been an absolute pleasure to work and partner with Tuxera through this, and we're really excited for our launch of the embedded stack in May. So that was what I wanted to say. Yeah. I'll pass it back over to you, Heinrich. I'm sorry I skipped the slide there.
Thank you, Barry. So yeah, this pretty much wraps it up. How Tuxera Fusion File Share SMB server is really making a difference with post-production workflows and in software-defined storage environments. So at this point, we'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any. And thank you very much for your attention.
Any questions? Gone. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.